much better than being legged up onto a Cox Plate starter. After all, you don't get a ride here unless you've earned it. These athletes certainly respect each other, but they've also plenty of time for the rider who'll lead them out onto the track today, Julie Higgins. Michael Maher reports on a very special lady.
As race jockeys asked their mounts for crisp final workouts for the Cox Plate, in Sydney's west, a less well-known rider and her retiree went through their paces.
Go for a gallop. Let me go for a gallop.
Cross Swords may have won a Sydney Cup, but he was never a starter in our biggest weight for age event. But today he gets his chance to mix it with the best in the land when he leads the field out for battle. For his jockey, Julie Higgins, it's one more feat in a remarkable comeback story. Today, Julie will be hoping the sometimes excitable gelding is subdued.
Because I went straight up in the air and then crashed back down on his back. And then he just went. And I thought, I think the ground's probably the safest place, so I might aim for that. And speared into the earth I was. You are a naughty boy.
Next year, Julie will be in search of a gold medal in dressage at the Paralympic Games in Sydney, a goal that 4 years ago was inconceivable. Julie was born with a congenital condition known as Fanconi syndrome, which badly weakens the bones. A bookie's price for contracting the malady, 50 million to 1. Julie's had 5 hip replacements. It hurts every time she gets on a horse.
Ouch! Just to like give you a little...
Horses had been the love of Julie's life since she was a child, but by 25, the pain had forced her off the animals. Her exile from the saddle lasted 16 years. It wasn't until Julie watched the Paralympic Games in Atlanta that she knew she had to get back on.
Now that I've got a goal, it just made all the difference. Before I had a goal like this, I physically could not ride for 16 years. I just couldn't. The minute I'd hit the pain barrier, I'd just never get through it.
Groom cum minder Philip Higgins agreed to give away competitive riding himself to concentrate on his wife's career. He knew she was stubborn, but even Julie's greatest critic and supporter stands in awe. For today's professional jockeys, Julie's not a bad role model.
Really, at the age Julie was, most people are winding up their riding careers. Let alone having, you know, a severe disability as well. She decided that she saw a dream.
F, working canter. B, circle left, 15 metres and down.
Philip in support mode, Julie's dominated the British National Championships for riders with disabilities for the last 3 years. She's just returned from Denmark, where Australia won its first ever dressage medals at the World Championships. Julie took a bronze. From here, she hopes to qualify for a chance for gold in Sydney.
It only took 38 years to realise it. And...
But the disability was worth it?
Yep, I'd have it again for this. Absolutely, without a doubt.
50 million to 1.
I was, instead of thinking I was, poor me, I was the unlucky one. I was the lucky one. I won the lottery.
From someone who'll be pretty close to the action today, a tip.
Well, who do you think will win the race?
Tie the knot. Because we let him out in 98 and 99 at the Sydney Cup and he won. So he'll win the Cox Plate.
No doubt?
No doubt.
She knows her stuff. Julie Higgins talking to Michael Maher there. During the week I've been reading a fair bit about Cox Plate Day, and Darren Beedman in his column yesterday in a Sydney paper said that this is the great race in terms of atmosphere, in terms of the crowd, in terms of the adrenaline. And I can just feel it here, being here. I'm on the track. It's wonderful. So, Darren, Simon, the atmosphere for her, for Julie, when she leads out these Cox Plate starters this afternoon, will be pretty special.
Yes, it certainly will be very special, I'm sure, Peter, and it's very special for us too. We've probably been here, what, Ken, 7 or 8 years doing this?
Yeah, it's a great telecast.
Only gets better.
And Simon, I think the Sydney people that haven't been here, or the people all over Australia that haven't been to Moonee Valley, it's a different race course because normally there's 100 metres between the outside fence and the stands. Here at Moonee Valley, the stand's nearly over the fence. It's like being at Harold Park Trots to me, you know.
And Pete, you're at the top of the straight, so when they come belting up the straight in the Cox Plate, just look out, mate, that they don't keep going straight ahead.
They better have their indicators on.
they will do, mate. Well, coming up is race 3, the Seppelt Great Western Stakes, and let's have a look at the totes.
Yeah, Miss Penny Money is second favourite at $3.60. Damien Oliver's mount. I expect her to run well. The Sydney Filly Forest Express, Shane Dye at $4.80. Transparent Lover at $18. Tahuna Gold at $19. The relevant price, the price they are now, is the one in white. Lizophony at $11. Keener, Jimmy Cassidy's mount, is the favourite on the tab at $3.10. Petagina at $15. Mesmerise Us at $34. As we go over the page, Tarquinia at $18. Rose of Shirley at $78, and El Tornado at $57.
Well, let's have a look at what we like in this race. And Kenny, you've gone with Miss Penny Money. I'm following you.
Yeah, I think she's very well placed. Forest Express is a good filly, but she's only won one race. She's run a lot more minor placings than wins.
And Simon Marshall's gone with Tahuna Gold. Well, Darren Beedman, he's not with us just at the moment. He's out in the back blocks here at Moonee Valley, and that's not too far away either, I might add, with a special guest. How are you, Darren?
Yes, good fellas. Yes, we've got Gary Portelli here, the trainer of Forest Express. And there's a bit of a fairy tale, this story, Gary. She's you bought her for $2,300 out of the winter sales, and she's amassed $145,000. She's a bit of a bargain.
That's right, Darren. We're a long way from the poorhouse now, you know. We sort of bought her hoping we win a race with her. She had a good European pedigree through a dam line, and they thought, well, if we can win a race in Australia, they're going to float her back to, well, ship her back to England, and she'll be a broodmare. But, of course, she's racing too well to go home now.
She's had very consistent form in Sydney, running against Dan Glisser. She ran 4th in the Flight Stakes, only beat 2.6 lengths. She's been very consistent, and there's no Dan Glisser in this race today.
No, there's no Dan Glisser, but, you know, I think you've got to... I think Miss Penny Money's a nice filly too, you know. Keener's on the way up. There's a couple of nice fillies in the race, you know. So, but it is a drop back in class on paper. But I couldn't be happier with the way my filly's done since she arrived in Melbourne, though. You know, she's worked well here on Tuesday. Shane was really impressed with the work. He said she worked well enough to probably win today if we get a bit of luck in running, you know.
Okay, well, thanks for that lead-in, and I'll let you get down there and get a seat so you can watch your filly go around. Thanks for your time, Gary.
Thanks, Darren.
Back to you, fellas.
Yes, I'm sure Gary Portelli is enjoying the day here at Moonee Valley. It's a wonderful atmosphere. I wonder if they're enjoying the atmosphere out in the betting ring. Ralphie, update us on everything that's happening out there.
They certainly are enjoying the atmosphere out here, Simon. I think the old rule about don't drink before 12 o'clock has been sort of gone to one side on Cox Plate Day. David Schwartz, we just can't back a winner yet. We're trying to find Brett Allison's cousin who made us all the money last week, but can you back us a winner?
Yeah, well, we're battling a little bit, but we'll bounce back heavily here. We'll take the 2. And we won't go hard on it. We'll have $20 on it, and I think we might look for some value with the Quinellas, with the 3 and the 9. So 2, 3, 9 in a box Quinella for $10 and $20 on the 2.
Tim, $20 on the 2 Forest Express there?
Yeah, 20 the win there, Forest Express. And I did have a win before. I tossed Michael Christian, Collingwood Premiership player, for a round of drinks, and I won, so I'm in front there. But I've also boxed 1, 2, 3, 6 Kenner and 11 El Tornado for a bit of value.
Love a bit of value. You've had more mail than Australia Post so far. Down here in the betting ring, we have as favourite Forest Express. It's not favourite on the tote, I can tell you. It is favourite down here with Miss Penny Money. Further out to Keener, who's 3rd favourite, and then we're out to Lizophony, Petagina and Tarquina. Up next.
Oh, yum, 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 yum. For the want of being in the BMW tent on Cox Plate Day. It's a wonderful area, a lot of fun and wine and drink. What a great afternoon up there, Ken.
Darren Beeman is frothing at the mouth. All this food he can't eat these days.
I'm drooling. How about frothing?
So you should be drooling. Well, let's see if we can drool over and try and find a winner in the Seppelt Great Western Stakes. Listed level, over 1,600 metres. Here are the totes.
Yeah, Miss Penny Money is at $3.70. Forest Express now favourite on the tote at $3.40. Transparent Lover at $18. Tahuna Gold at $23. Lazophony at $9.80, in from $12 with the pool doubling. Keno, Jim Cassidy's mount, is a bit easy, $3 out to $3.80. Petagina at $17. Mesmerise Us at $43. And Tarquinia at $22. Rose of Shirley out to $108. And El Tornado has got no admirers either and is at $61. Simon Marshall, what do you think of this lot?
Yeah, Kenny, they're a great bunch. I can tell you, Miss Penny Money's 110% fit. You're not going to get her much fitter. Forest Express came around beautifully too. Shane Dye's mount, lovely and relaxed, handled the crowd well, and should run a forward race, that's for sure. Transparent Lover looks a little bit happier in herself today. She's got a nice bit of speed, got a little bit of ability. Of course, does have to lift on her form. Tahuna Gold took the eyes, 110% fit, Kenny. Couldn't be happy with that one. Lazophony, the stablemate of Miss Penny Money, also fine. Keena looked great. Clary Connor's trained horse looked fantastic coming around here, and nice and relaxed as well. Apart from the rest, mate, I think Miss Penny Money's going to be hard to beat, but my each way, Tahuna Gold could not fault, Ken.
Yeah, Tahuna Gold just went in there in the pink. That's Larry Cassidy. We could see closest there on Mesmerise Us. And there is going forward TAB number 3, Transparent Lover, in those burgundy colours. Transparent Lover has Danny Nikolic in the saddle. All right, that's, as I said, Larry Cassidy there on the inside on Mesmerise Us in actually Drew Barrier 2. Miss Penny Money was next to him, or next to her, and going forward there is Rose of Shirley, drawn near the outside. OK, they're ready. Here's Greg Miles.
All in and set to run, and they're off. And Keener began well in the green colours down from gate 4. Transparent Lover looking for the front early. In the early stages, El Tornado holds onto the rail prominent, and Forest Express is caught about 5 wide with Lazophony on its outside. Making their way to the bottom turn near the 1200. Transparent Lover eventually working to the lead, but it's going to be headed off by Lazophony, who's taken the lead into the back straight. Forest Express is third and going forward, followed by El Tornado 1, Miss Penny Money. 2 lengths further back, Mesmerise Us on the inside of Tarquinia. A length and a half to Keener, followed by Rose of Shirley, and then Tahuna Gold, who's next to last, and lastly outside Petagina going forward. Lazophony leads in the run to the turn at the 800 by a length. Running second, Transparent Lover. On the rails third is over on the inside there, El Tornado. Forest Express Die happy to sit wide on it, and Miss Penny Money in the centre. 2 lengths Mesmerise Us. Keener is following Forest Express into the race on the outside. Petagina is coming deep, followed by Tarquinia, Tahuna Gold, and over on the inside Rose of Shirley by the 600 metres, and it's Lazophony, the leader for Michael Barlow. Passes the school in front of Transparent Lover under a lot of pressure. Now Oliver switches to the inside on Miss Penny Money, is coming after the leader, followed by Forest Express, who's under extreme pressure, but Lazophony leads with Miss Penny Money, the big danger around the turn, and they've got away on Forest Express, Mesmerise Us and Transparent Lover. Miss Penny Money takes the lead as soon as they corner from Lazophony. Forest Express running on fairly well into third, but Miss Penny Money at the 100 dashes clear now, will draw clear for Damien Oliver, and Miss Penny Money holds Lazophony and wins it easily. It's Miss Penny Money from Lazophony. Could have been a couple of lengths if he let it go. Forest Express is third, then Keener, who battled only from Transparent Lover. Petagina, Mesmerise Us, Tarquinia well back in the field to finish as Tahuna Gold. Then there's a break to Rose of Shirley, and a long last was El Tornado.
Yeah, Damien Oliver at his very, very best there on Miss Penny Money. Gained a run through on the turn and shot it clear in the home straight. 1, 5 and 2. Both first and second trained by Jim Conlon. And the winner at $3.70, as we saw there on the tote. Now, as we stop them here, just on the home turn, there is the winner just going to the front. Miss Penny Money outside of her stablemate Lazophony. Here along came Shane Dye on the third horse, Forest Express, but she wasn't good enough and couldn't run down the first pair. And as we see here, Oliver shoots Miss Penny Money to the lead. The one on the rails, Lazophony, the stablemate, can't do any better for Michael Barlow, and same can be said for Forest Express in third place. Melbourne love him, Damien Oliver, and well they might. He's the best jockey in this part of town, and he proved it once more with a most magnificent ride there. As we see his hands and heels action, yellow sleeves, blue cap, centre screen, the chestnut filly with a little white blaze. That's the second horse, Lazophony, over on the rails in the green. And Jim Conlon would be a very happy man. He's now with Darren Beedman.
Yes, he sure is, Kenny. We've got him right here. He's getting correct. Congratulations all around. You must have been smiling like a cat coming out of a dairy, turning for home. We had the first and second place getters.
Yeah, I was really really confident with the way Damien rode that filly. He just got her settled beautifully. Her last start, she just didn't handle the going at all. She really was dipping and, really didn't get through it. I think she's a very good filly, this filly, and I do like the other filly. She's probably 6 months off being at her best.
Where to from here with Miss Penny Money?
Well, she'll probably run in the Wakeful and then go into the Oaks.
OK, we'll let you get down to the enclosure where to meet the winning rider and your horse.
Good on you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jim. Back to you, Simon.
Yes, with Darren, when one's on the punt, the Oliver factor's got to account for many. Damien, fantastic little ride. You're able to get her nice and relaxed today too, which is a good part of her win.
Yeah, she went to sleep, Simon. I suppose that's, if you're on a favourite, that's the sort of run you want.
Yeah, she pinged to the line too, one with a little bit up her sleeve.
Yeah, she was never going to lose, and a big drop in class for her today, and she was too good for him.
Sky Heights, you're an underdog this year. He's headed towards the Melbourne Cup, but what a fantastic ride in the Cox Plate today, Dame.
He is, Simon. He's you can't knock his form. It's been outstanding this time in, and I know he's coming back in distance, but he's still in with a chance.
OK, mate, all the very best. You're in for a big day. Back to you, Kenny.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. And as we see Damien Oliver bring Miss Penny Money back to scale, let's take a break on Cox Plate Day on the wide world of sports.
We're 3 races into the Moonee Valley program. Race 7's the big one as Damien Oliver brings home Miss Penny Money, a great ride from a great jockey in the third, the Settled Great Western Stakes. Miss Penny Money, $3.70 and $1.60. Lizophony, $2.20. Forest Express, number 2 at $1.50. The Quinella on 1 and 5, $15.90. The Trifecta on 1, 5 and 2, $85.80. Well, today, of course, is the anniversary of an unforgettable Cox Plate win. A year ago, Might and Power confirmed his greatness with victory here at Moonee Valley at almost unbackable odds. In the autumn of this year, Might and Power was struck down with a bowed tendon, an injury from which most thoroughbreds don't return. In this report, Tim Sheridan talks to owner Nick Moratis about his memories of the Mighty One and the horse's progress towards recovery.
Well, there it is, the crowd, the reception for Might and Power. The crowd really yelled themselves hoarse. Not one person has left their positions in the stand as they cheer this great champion. And you saw
no one never thought in all my years of attending races and loving the industry as I do that one day that I hold the 3 major cups in Australian racing. And it's just a gift of God, I suppose, that these things happen. No, you never set out or plan to do it, and of course you just really don't know in racing, because one minute you're up and next minute you're down.
Nick Moratis could feel it in his bones well before he returned Jack Denham's lunchtime call in March of this year.
I'm always hoping it's something to do with something else, especially that time of the day. And he said to me, it's happened. And when he said it's happened, I knew something had gone wrong with the horse.
First box of cherries for the season.
Might and Power, come on.
Might and Power.
Come on, Nick.
He calls himself lucky, but look at Nick Moratis and you see mostly hard work. Now among Sydney market's wholesaling elite, Nick will always aim up when charity cherry time comes around.
$15,000, ladies and gentlemen. Nick.
As one who lost his wife 20 years ago, he's never needed reminding that good times are momentary and that his mighty gelding couldn't run forever.
And I suppose that while it's there, you've got to really appreciate and enjoy it, because it's like life, it's very, very short.
They're on the railway side, Might and Power still the leader.
The public adores a once-in-a-lifetime horse, and especially a front-runner like this one. When he took charge of the '97 Caulfield Cup, Might and Power thundered into the mainstream. He ran those behind him until they'd had enough and then bolted for home.
But Might and Power has bolted in with the Caulfield Cup. He wins by 8 lengths. Dorema's second. Good go for